A little rough, would you believe? Hang on, let's try this. Let's stick on a couple of... Hang on, it won't come off. Let's put on the other record player. That would be much easier, wouldn't it? Thank you. Nothing's going right for me this evening. It's getting very annoying. Father James Harvest.
Makes me happier than I've ever been before.
Iedere maandag, dinsdag, woensdag, donderdag en vrijdagmiddag tussen 2 en 3 hoor je jouw favoriete platen in de persoonlijke top 10.
What's the time? It's 18 minutes to 9 now. Brain of Britain at 9 o'clock this evening. With his rock files in his hand anyway. Quick, S-I. Yep, Simon. Yep. This is first solo out here. A track from Paul Simon's first solo album, which is called Paul Simon. Let's listen to this. This is Things. Pretty Things. The album Silk Torpedo, and this is 2 tracks, Dream and Joey.
I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, dream, dream when I feel blue in the night, and I need you to hold me tight whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, 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 dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, 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 dream.
It's down for 5 days and will reopen on Wednesday the 9th of March on a new wavelength of 319 on 319 meters, 953 kilohertz, which is just beneath Radio 4 on your radio dial. Once again, that's this Thursday, the 3rd of March. Radio Caroline will be closing down at 6 p.m. and will reopen 6 days later on Wednesday, the 9th of March, on a new wavelength of 319 meters, a frequency of 953 kilohertz, which is just beneath Radio 4. It's 901.
Radio Caroline.
Closing down for the final time because we'll be off the air for 6 days and returning on next Wednesday, March the 9th, a new wavelength, 319 meters medium wave, 953 kilohertz. That's next Wednesday, March the 9th. We'll be starting on a new wavelength, 319 meters, 953 kilohertz, which is just below BBC Radio 4. Tonight at 6, the final time for 259. Next Wednesday, a new wavelength. The number to remember, 319 meters.
Yeah, but something wrong. There's something wrong with me to see. Something wrong. Yes, it is, babe.
What did you discover? Is it
Got to have it, I really need it.
'cause I need me.
For the love of money, the OJs from Ship Ahoy, it's 4:15.
The first edition of the Caroline magazine is now on sale, and with Ed Foster's dramatic account of last September's grounding, Tom Anderson's interesting and informative article on travelling abroad, the pen pal page, listeners' contributions, and much, much more, it's a snip at just 35 pence, including postage. For your copy of the first Caroline magazine, simply send a crossed but otherwise blank postal order for 35 pence to Magazine A321 Rosas, province of Girona, in Spain.
It's 16 minutes past 4 now. Next Wednesday is the day to remember. Radio Caroline will be on the air on 319 metres medium wave. 20 past 4 on this final Thursday on 259 Boston from their LP Boston, and More Than a Feeling. As it's the last day, we thought we'd be just a little bit silly. We've got James Ross on deck. That's why you heard the odd funny noise throughout the afternoon, and we're going to talk to him, or he's going to talk to you anyway, and me as well, but I'll probably be so bored I'll fall asleep after this.
The Eagles, Joan Armatrading, Steve Miller Band, The Doors, Stevie Wonder. For the albums you hear on Caroline, go to Robbins Records, Pottergate, Norwich in Norfolk, where you can save at least 60p on all full-price albums. Robbins Records always stock 5,000 titles. So for the albums you hear on Caroline, go to Robbins Records, Pottergate, Norwich in Norfolk. They stock cassettes too.
Afternoon, Mark.
Afternoon.
How are you, darling?
Oh, wonderful.
I'm fine.
Jolly good.
Well, I'm up here at the moment, just above the Caroline studio, which is just beneath the Mi Amigo studio. And at the moment, Frank VanderMast is live off the radio. Afternoon, Frankie.
Afternoon, James. Are you off the radio?
I am off the radio. How's your program going?
Very fine, thank you. Very nice.
How did the news go today?
Apart from some interruptions by a certain Caroline disc jockey, quite well.
I don't understand his humour, so it's obviously Dutch. I think I'd better hand you back to the Caroline studio. And once again, if you know the layout of the ship, you know where it is. But if you don't, the bridge is aft, and just before the bridge is a little gap, and in that little gap is where the generators are. And I'm being attacked by a young lady. Well, I was anyway. She's stopped now. I should stop mumbling on, shouldn't I, really? Say something, Mark, please.
What would you like me to say?
Well, speak for about 5 seconds.
5 seconds, okay.
Right, okay, I'm back with you now. The bridge, it's white and... yes, there's a motor. No, I don't know what to say. Come back in 5 minutes.
Okay, right. Thank you, James. James Ross running out of things to say. About halfway out the ship. He's told you the time. It's about half a minute later than what it was when he told you. This is Del said that once. At 6 o'clock tonight, if you don't know already, we're closing down, and we'll be off the air for 6 days, and we'll be back on next Wednesday, which is March the 9th, on the new Wavelength, bigger and better and whatever, 319 meters, medium wave, 953 kilohertz. 319, write it in your diary or something. 23 minutes to 6, James is out and about, all over the ship. At the moment he's above the generators, right?
Yes, I'm still here, and I can hear them once again. The hatch is now closed, so I think it won't be so noisy. And I'm standing just beside one of the, very hot funnels. There are 3 of them, because we've got 3 motors, or perhaps there's 4 of them, because we've got the main engine as well, which is just behind me. The main engine is just, or not just, beneath the bridge, which I'm just about to walk up to, if I can get up there, yeah. Walking up the steps, behind, oh, cried. It's a lovely sunset this evening, nice and red out here. You ought to come out here sometime, if you get the opportunity. It's nice and blue, upstairs, I mean, up in the sky. There's a bit of grey cloud, and here we are. You can really see the ship going up and down. I think it's, is it lurching or something like that? What's the expression?
I don't know. Pitching.
Pitching, that's it. You see the ship sort of pitching back and forth. It's a nice flat day today, but it's still going up and down slightly.
The trouble we go through, eh?
Oh, but we love it. Don't get paid either. The sort of ship-to-shore radio telephone thing is in front of me. If we want to call up, yeah.
Anybody,
if we get into trouble. Behind is the port and starboard lights, and the wheel, and also the compass. And that's about it for the bridge. You have windows all around, or we have windows all around, so you can see all around the place. I can't see any ships at the moment, but earlier on there was a nice big cruiser, big white one, about 5 miles away. We can see Beacon 16, or Beacon 18 as it's better known as, for the Coast Guards. That's about 4 miles away, and if you remember last summer we went out in the rubber dinghy and we played football on the sandbanks over there, and I can see, yes, the rubber dinghy is still there. It's halfway down the ship, and if you have come out in one of the free radio boat trips, you've seen it hanging over the starboard side. Nothing very interesting on the port side, so I won't tell you much about that. I think that's just about it. There's a spare generator behind me, which was used about 4 years ago. It's now sort of been made redundant and parts have been taken off. Obsolete. Well, sorry.
That's right.
I mean, I only went to a school time.
Yeah, it's good.
And I think that's about it. The forepeak are the anchors and the chains.
You could have a trip up there in a minute, right?
I could have, yeah. And at the moment, I can see the ship because it's getting quite dusk-y, and the quartz lights, which illuminates the ship, are lighting it up pretty well. Okay?
Fine. It's 20 to 6, we'll have James Ross up the sharp end, the Electric Light Orchestra from a new world record with rock aria. It's 16 and a half minutes to 6, and
I like the next track after that. I'm standing on the forepeak at the moment, which is right at the very front. In fact, if I go about another foot, don't say anything, I'll fall off. What can I talk about? There's a winch here, a really nice looking.
I might explain it's about 400 years old and doesn't work.
You could explain that, but I was going to tell lots of lies and say it's been worked really recently. No, there's actually an anchor chain fixed to it. I don't know if this will actually work if the main anchor chain breaks, but there's actually an anchor fitted to the winch.
I think that's just to keep the anchor chain. No.
Oh.
What did you say? Warm?
Or sort of skew it snugly.
No. I mean, it's to tie it onto the ship, virtually, isn't it?
Oh, I see. Yes. Oh, it's just very clever of you, Mark.
Oh, I don't like it.
Yeah. Above we have the anchor light, if you'd like to say a few words. No, okay. I'm a little bit worried about here because I have to go through the main aerial, or through the guidelines to the main aerial, and if I go through the main guidelines, I go through the feeders, which have about 1 million watts or volts going through them, and I don't particularly want to touch them, or my microphone lead to touch them, otherwise I might get electrocuted. What else? Pardon?
Nothing. I was just being facetious.
Oh, not fastidious.
No, not at all. No.
Looking down on the ship on my left, which is the wrong way to look at a ship, on the starboard side yet again is the spare anchor chain, and the spare anchor which could be dropped at a millisecond's notice. Oh, hang on, I've just climbed over the anchor chain and left my wire behind. Right, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm looking down the port side now, and there's some pipes and things. Oh, it's really windy.
Very windy out there. It sounds very windy.
Hang on, let's try and that's better, so I'm away from the wind. It's getting slightly choppy and slightly windy. I don't know what the weather forecast is. It's very warm, though. I've only had to put one jumper on. There's a nice sunset, which I've talked about before, and I think that's just about it. There's the TV aerials are waggling around in the wind, so perhaps they'll fall down this evening, and I won't be able to watch Top of the Pops anymore.
Oh.
The VHF aerial, it is, isn't it? But didn't he do well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. I think that's just about it,
You
Mark.
sound as though you're shivering to death, actually.
I am. I'm terrified.
Never mind.
See you.
Bye. 10.5 minutes to go. Isn't it exciting? The Stones from Rolled Gold there, painted black. James Ross, if you don't know already, is sort of flitting about on deck. He's up the sharp end, the forecastle at the moment, and he's going to talk to our transmitter engineer about what the aerial does. Well, I mean, you know what it does anyway, but he's going to describe it and that sort of thing in just a second.
The Eagles, Joan Armatrading, Miller Band, The Doors, Stevie Wonder. For the albums you hear on Caroline, go to Robbins Records, Pottergate, Norwich in Norfolk, where you can save at least 60p on all full-price albums. Robbins Records always stock 5,000 titles. So for the albums you hear on Caroline, go to Robbins Records, Pottergate, Norwich in Norfolk. They stock cassettes too.
And I've got the transmitter engineer again, but this time not in the transmitter room, but on top of everything, on top of the small building, which is on the boat. No, is that the forecastle?
Oh, no, you're on top, you're on the roof.
On the roof.
Oh, it's the roof of the mess room, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, yes. What can I say? What's that thing at the top? Capacity hat. What does that actually do?
As I say, that's effectively what's known as a capacity cap to make the aerial effectively taller than it really is, and it already is pretty tall. In fact, it's what, about 160 feet tall.
Yeah. That's 40 metres or
perhaps 50 metres, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something wave, isn't it? A quarter wave or a half wave or something like that.
He's trying to be clever and say it's something wave. Quarter wave, is it?
Well, it's not far off a quarter wave.
I see. Why does it have to be actually taller than it is? Why have we got that capacity hat on the top? Sorry to put you on the spot.
I know the
Well,
answer
in fact,
to that.
I believe what happened about a year ago is the top section fell off.
Yeah.
And sort of a repair was done, and that was decided to be the best method of repairing it.
But why does it actually have to be...
Oh, well, to get this quarter wavelength.
I see.
The best height for an aerial,
Right.
to make it more efficient. There are millions of sort of guy wires all over the place, make it look quite impressive.
Sorry about the wind. Right at the bottom of the aerial is thing looks rather like a Dalek. It's got lots of little hoojars and whatsits, and that what is basically known as the feeder. It's how tall? About 3 feet tall.
It's the insulator.
Yes, it's a sort of a porcelain insulator, like you'd find on a one of those electricity pylon things.
Yeah.
And it goes. The bottom end is connected down into the transmitter room to the transmitter outputs, and the top goes into the feeder, and that goes up a long wire right up to almost the top of the aerial. Sort of.
Is there any reason for it being so tall? Is that so the water won't get at it?
Yes, and we have to clean it every so often to prevent salt water and so on from making it dirty, and then we'd have problems with flashing over, nasties like that.
I see.
Mainly to keep it dry and prevent any arcing, flashing.
And when it does actually flash, that's when the transmitter goes click, click, click every 5 seconds.
Yes, that's quite right.
Right. I think, Mark, that's all we can say about the ship.
Jolly good.
There's not much more I can see. It's getting really windy up here.
Lighthouses and...
Gosh, yes, we can see a lighthouse. So, hello to everybody in the lighthouse.
You can't really see a lighthouse.
Oh, shut your face.
Sorry.
Of course we can.
Spoiling the effect, am I?
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for everything, Mark.
My pleasure.
This has been James Ross reporting.
7 minutes to 6. Forever. Oh, yes. That's Art Garfunkel from Breakaway. 3.5 minutes to 6, which means it's goodbye time. That's it. That's all over, really. As I said, I can't impress on you enough. You must listen next week, Wednesday, March the 9th. New wavelength, 319 meters. 319. 953 kilohertz, just next to Radio 4. This is the last track from Colin Blunstone's LP, 1 year. It's called Caroline Goodbye. But it's not, it's au revoir.
Saw your picture in the paper. My, you're looking pretty good. Looks like you're gonna make it in a big way. Well, I always knew you would, but I should have known better, yeah. And I should have seen it sooner. No use pretending I've known for a long time. Your love is ending. Caroline, goodbye. Caroline, goodbye. inside of me. We're there for a while, you and me. Catch up to you. Horses chasing, 'cause they're racing, so near and so far. On the carousel, on the carousel. Nearer, nearer, like changing horses, still so far away. Fighting
Carousel. Er stond iets van de Hollies, dus ik dacht laat ik deze maar eens eventjes nemen voor de grap. Dat is ook wel weer eens een leuke. Op nummer 10 in deze persoonlijke top 10. Omdat op vrijdag 11 maart 1977 de laatste Bart van Leeuwen show zou worden uitgezonden, zal Radio Mi Amigo op die dag tussen 2 en 4 de persoonlijke top 30 uitzenden. De 30 platen die het meest zijn aangevraagd in de persoonlijke top 10. Dit programma mag je niet missen. De persoonlijke top 30 in de laatste Bart van Leeuwen show op vrijdag 11 maart tussen 2 en 4.
Never can say goodbye. No, 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 I never can say goodbye. Every time I think I've had enough and start heading for the door, there's a very strange vibration piercing me right to the core. It's that turn around, you fool. You know you love him more and more. Tell me why. Is it so? Don't wanna let you go. Hey, I never can say goodbye, boy. Ooh, baby. I never can say goodbye, no, no, no. I never can say goodbye. No, I never can say goodbye. I keep thinking that our problems don't always gonna work out, but there's that same unhappy feeling, there's that anguish, there's that doubt. It's that same old dizzy hang-up I had to with you all
Ja, Marleen moet niet gaan denken dat we de lange uitvoering gaan draaien van deze plaat, want dat is zeker niet de bedoeling, want dan zijn we morgenmiddag nog bezig met het programma.
I